The first ping came through the kitchen iPad we used to play music while we cook. He was slicing scallions. I was rinsing rice. Spotify paused for half a heartbeat, and a banner flashed across the screen with a name I'd trained myself not to say out loud. Julian. A blue preview bubble bloomed and vanished in the same second, like a guppy in a pond. You couldn't read the whole thing, just the start. Missed the way you. And then it was gone because my fingers were already swiping the notification off the edge of the world. It's nothing, I said too fast, as if we were already in a conversation. Random promo. Probably a spam account. You want me to turn off banners? He asked evenly, wiping his hands on a dish towel. He didn't look at me. He looked at the iPad, which is an old habit of his when he's giving me the dignity to tell the truth on my own. It's fine, I said. Seriously. An old conversation, not even active. Don't make it weird. I made it weird. He went back to scallions. The room felt like a waiting room. Julian was not an ex, not officially. He was the man I let live in my DMs a year and a half ago when my relationship with Lucas was new enough to scare me. He worked in another office across town, the kind of charming that looks like confidence until you meet a woman who dated him. Last winter, when Lucas found the threads, I called it flirting like a discount label and swore I'd blocked him everywhere. Lucas didn't explode. He drew a perimeter. No more contact. If there was a slip, tell him before, not after. We did counseling, the boring kind that works. Shared passwords for a while, two-factor everything, actual plans for old triggers instead of poetry. I kept the block until spring. Then I took it off for closure. Except closure doesn't DM you at 9:14 p.m. with sentences that start with remember. After dinner, Lucas set the knife down and asked, "Can we do a quick check?" The way he speaks about conflict is the way he speaks about code. Calm, precise, looking for the bug without burning the whole app down. Check what? I said, stupid. The thing that just pinged our kitchen, he said. His eyes were kind and unyielding. If it's truly old, truly nothing, then we can clear it and both sleep. I don't want you in my phone, I snapped, like we were strangers, like I hadn't handed him that same phone in therapy last year and said, "Please help me build a fence." He nodded once, as if I confirmed a hypothesis he didn't want to be right about. Okay, he said. He rinsed the knife, stacked plates, and moved through the rest of cleanup like a man finishing the part of the day he can control. He didn't ask again. He went for a run. I stood in the kitchen and felt my heart kicking at my ribs like a trapped thing. I opened Instagram and scrolled to the message. Julian 3 new. I didn't open them because the timestamps were enough to set the room on fire. I deleted the thread, blocked him, then blocked the backup account I knew he had because monsters make copies. I turned off message requests because I'm not as dumb as I act, just late. Lucas came back red-cheeked and quiet. We went to bed and lay on our sides facing opposite directions like two people in a painting. In the morning, there was a printout on the table. Lucas doesn't print much. When he does, it's because he wants a thing to sit there in the light and not be arguable. It was an Instagram data download request. His, not mine. With the date and time. Under it, the email confirming the export of our shared iPad's notifications, because Instagram's help pages are public and Lucas reads the help pages. He had highlighted one line, direct message from @Julian______. 9:14 p.m. Missed the way you, the rest of it cut off exactly where the banner had. A second page sat next to it, a photo of my hidden messages, timestamped from the cloud backup the iPad pulls when it's connected. You couldn't read content, just counts. 3 requests pending, 1 from a name I knew too well. He hadn't hacked anything. He had looked at what was already reflected in the devices we shared, the way a mirror tells on you. Do you want to try again? He asked, and his voice was so careful it scared me more than yelling would have. They're old, I said. I heard the lie reach for his face and watched him step sideways so it didn't hit. The timestamp is last night, he said. This is not an ambush. I'm giving you the choice to put it on the table so we can decide if we have a table. It's just words, I said, hating how small and 13 I sounded. I didn't meet him. It's just an old conversation, he restarted. I blocked him. But you didn't tell me, he said, soft. And you called me paranoid instead. I wanted him to throw a mug. I wanted a scene I could fight inside of instead of this patient, sane boundary that made me feel like a child. Okay, he said when I didn't answer. He pulled a small legal pad from his backpack. Lucas's version of armor. If we're staying together, I need 4 things. If you can't do them, we shouldn't be together. I stared at the pen in his hand. He was a man who wrote requirements, so our lives didn't run on vibes. 1, he said, you write 1 message to Julian while I'm sitting here. Do not contact me again. Not a paragraph. Not closure. A wall. I already blocked him, I said. Then it's easy, he said. 2, you bring me anything that looks like a loophole before it's a hole. No hidden folders. No message requests you think don't count. If it lives on a device we share, it is our business. That's invasive, I said, because I needed something to strike. It's a season, he said. We can renegotiate when trust feels like a thing I'm not white-knuckling. 3, he went on as if I hadn't spoken, we suspend the wedding planning.
No deposits, no dress appointments.
I won't stand up in front of people and lie with a smile. We pause 6 months. If things are clean, we set a new date. If not, we walk with dignity instead of waiting for a blow-up. And 4? I said, already defensive. 4, he said, meeting my eyes. We drop the word overreacting from our vocabulary when what you mean is, I don't want to deal with the consequences of my choices. If I'm wrong, I will say I'm wrong. If I'm right, you will stop calling it drama, so you can keep doing it. I could not bear the neatness of his list. I went for messy. You're controlling, I said. You want to manage my friendships. It was an old conversation. He reached out. I didn't. He didn't argue. He put the pen down and folded the paper in half. Okay, he said. It wasn't surrender. It was a door closing without a slam. Then we're at option 2, I go. What? I laughed because laughing is what my mouth does when my brain gets scared. Over DMs? Over promises, he said. Over the fact that the last time this happened, we made a plan you agreed to. Over the fact that when I saw a banner on a device you use and asked a gentle question, you didn't say, you're right, let's fix this. You said, don't make it weird, and then called me paranoid. I don't want a life where I have to catch things in the corner of my eye to get the truth. That's not partnership. That's surveillance. He had already thought it through. Of course he had. I'll take the spare room at Sam's for a month, he said. I'll call the venue. We'll lose the deposit, but I'll cover it because my name is on the contract. I'll email the florist to donate our dates arrangements to the hospice, like last time we thought we might cancel. I'll transfer my half of next month's rent and utilities so you have time to figure out whether you want to stay or go. I'll ask my sister to pick up the suit from fittings and return it. You can keep the ring. In this state, it's a conditional gift, but I'm not going to litigate romance. I haven't cheated, I said, and hated the line even as I said it. You're leaving me for messages. I'm leaving because you like doors half open, he said. And I don't sleep in houses like that. He didn't pack a dramatic bag. He gathered shirts, his laptop, the chargers I always steal. He labeled a bag bathroom because he is the kind of man who keeps his grooming minimal and organized. He took the spare key off his ring and set it on the counter next to a note with bullet points. Cancel the caterer within 48 hours. Notify the hotel block. Call Aunt Margaret yourself because she will make you feel worse if I do it. I'll come Sunday with movers for the furniture I brought into the relationship, he said. The blue chair, the bookcase, the record player. I'll leave the couch. We bought that together. I won't sit on it again. Seems fair. Can we please talk after work? I asked, because my brain, like a kid, thinks everything gets fixed if you promise to circle back later. He looked at me like a person you still love who is not going to become a problem you manage. There's nothing to debrief, he said. You know the difference between old and last night. You're not confused. You're avoiding. When he closed the door, I stood in the kitchen and stared at the knife he'd rinsed. The blade caught the light like a lesson. It would be elegant to tell you that I chose his list that afternoon, that I wrote the wall text, that we paused the wedding, that I learned nouns and verbs and how to respect a boundary instead of decorating it. The truth is pettier. I sent Julie in the wall text because anger is easier than virtue. I blocked and reblocked until my hands hurt. I put my phone in a drawer, and it still rang in my head. Lucas's sister texted me later with 2 words. I'm sorry. No pylon.
No lecture.
The kind of grace I didn't deserve and wouldn't have extended if our positions were reversed, which is a gross thing to learn about yourself in a bright kitchen. Sunday, the movers came at 8 on the dot. He'd hired them on Thursday. Of course he had. They took the blue chair, the bookcase, the record player. He asked me to sign the inventory sheet, not like a stranger, like an adult. He left a check for half the next month's rent under the lemon-shaped magnet on the fridge and texted the landlord a clean, undramatic notice. He forwarded me the cancellation confirmations from the venue and the hotel block, BCC'd both our mothers, so there was no gossip vacuum. He didn't scorch the earth. He didn't leak my worst sentences out of context to our friends and wait for the lightning to strike. He gave the story the only thing it needed. An ending. I sent him one message a week later. You were right about the doors. He wrote back, I hope you get a place you can lock. It read like a blessing. People ask if he won. If that means he got to keep his calm and his standards and his sleep, then yes. If it means he beat me at a game, there wasn't a game. Just a man who refused to live inside my rationalizations. He chose dignity over drama, boundaries over begging, fresh air over a life spent reading notification previews for clues about whether he's loved. I kept the ring in a drawer for a while because I couldn't stand the sight of it and couldn't stand not having it. Then I walked it to the jeweler and asked them to reset the stone into something plain, just a single gold circle I can't pretend means anything but start over. They did it without fanfare. I pay for it off my own card. I turned message requests off for good. I turned listening back on. I used to think overreacting was the smartest way to win an argument you were losing. It turns out it's just a way to call someone crazy for wanting what you promised. Peace, transparency, a house without drafts. He didn't raise his voice or change the locks or break a plate. He wrote a list, kept his word, and left. That's what it looks like up close when the guy wins. No spectacle, no smear campaign, just a man refusing to be the night watchman in a building you keep propping open. He took his chair, and his record player, and his ability to sleep. I'm learning how to live without the previews. And how to tell the truth before the banner tells on me.